Esto es Warp Talks, el podcast de Warp, en el que creamos un espacio de diálogo vivo con los nombres que marcan el ritmo en las diferentes industrias creativas alrededor del mundo.
How are you?
Hi, Ernesto. I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
Fine, thanks. It's a huge honor to talk with you today.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to talk to you as well.
My first question is, it's been 4 years since Jamie was released, and so many things have changed, and even the world came to a kind of an end, but we're still here, and I'd like to know what it feels to release new music right now.
It feels like finally. It feels like a huge, long exhale is what it feels like. During the pandemic, I felt kind of guilty because I wanted to be more creative than I was being. I was like, oh, I want to write every day. All these people are putting out all of this music. And I didn't realize that I was just living so that I could write about it. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's a good lesson for artists in general. Not to put so much pressure on output. Like, you have to live to write. It's true. And so after all this living, I finally get to put all of my thoughts and feelings out into the world and have other people hopefully connect with them. And it just feels like a giant sigh of relief.
Actually, that was kind of my next question, because right now music industry feels like it's always in a hurry, like in a competition for attention. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a little sad because release music, it feels like a relief, more like a happiness or something like that. It's more like that. But now you just released a song the last week, and I would like to know. When I listen to it, I still feel this reference to soul, to blues and rock and roll, but also have details that make it feel modern and contemporary. What can you tell us about the sound of this new era?
The sound of this new era? It's definitely an evolution of sound. There's, I'm just a person that keeps my ear to the ground, like, so to speak. Like, I'm just always listening for new inspiration and feelings and how best I can represent what I feel, And that's always going to change because I'm growing and I'm learning more and I'm being more aware of who I am. And I'm just growing up, And so, of course, I'm changing. Of course, I don't want to stay the same all the time. My music's going to change with me. I feel like as an artist, I like to remain very sincere in what I say, and very authentic and very honest, because that's just what I like to do. I feel like for me, music is cathartic, and it helps me process my own feelings and emotions spiritually. And so therefore, thank God I'm changing and evolving, And that'll be representative on this in this new era.
Yeah, music is cathartic, but changes also are terrifying. In any moment, did you have fear of these changes, like artistically, like in the way you composed?
Yes. So usually when I write, ever since the very beginning, I like to write out my demos very detailed. So all the parts and what kind of effects and sounds that I would like. And then we'll go into the studio and we'll completely re-record the demos and add things here and there and surprises and such. But this time I would go in like with half a song, not fully completed, or I would just create a song on the spot, which is new for me. Usually I'm fully prepared to go into the studio. But this time I literally just listened to inspiration, listened to music, and just received what I needed, And I trusted that. I trusted that when I went in there, I'm gonna finish these songs and I'm gonna like this and I'm gonna do this to the best of my ability. And sometimes some of the songs came slowly and difficultly. And sometimes they came super easily. I never knew, but that's what was so exciting. And I feel like that's why I would call the project What Now? I never knew what was gonna happen next. And I found out that I really liked working that way. But it was scary at first going into the studio like that. So I'd never done it like that before.
Did you have to learn anything new in the making of this new music?
I'm sure I did. I'm sure I did. It was a year ago now since I made it. But I think the thing I learned the most, that I walked away with the most, is that I can trust myself to go into a studio and just make something from scratch out of thin air. I don't need to be so prepared.
You just tell that it's been a year since you make this music. Does it feel weird to show this music a year after you made it?
For me, I'm still very excited because I've wanted to share this for so long, and I'm this close to sharing it. You know what I mean? Had the first single come out, and I'm like, yes, finally. And I like hearing how people are responding to it. And I'm so excited for the rest of the album to come out. I want to see what people connect to, you know? I'm very curious. I feel like I've been chomping at the bit for this album to come out. So not weird, just like very, very excited.
For a few years now, talking about musical genre has been a little bit boring because it feels like putting tags on artists. So I would like to know if you could describe this new music more like an experience. How could you describe it? For example, my music right now feels like a thriller, like a mystery movie. How could you describe this new music?
How would I describe this new music? I think it's definitely deeply emotional in all senses. There's anger, there's fear, there's regret, there's sadness, there's joy. It's an emotional roller coaster, this album. But it's also like kind of like being in a pillow fort with your friends. I don't know if you ever made those. Or being under the covers. It's like, it's closer. You know, I feel like this music is closer to me than anything I've ever created so far.
You're in the middle of a festival tour right now, and actually you're coming to Mexico next month. How does it feel to be back on the road and playing these songs after the pandemic?
It feels like I'm home. It feels like I'm home again. Because I've been doing this for so long. It feels strange not to do it. It feels wrong. It feels like I'm not using my powers. But being back with everyone, I love the band I play with. I love everyone so much. They're so talented. Feeling like a musician again and feeling like I'm using my gifts again. It feels very much aligned, and I'm just like so excited to return to Mexico City. Like so excited. It's been too long.
Yeah, you played here almost 10 years ago. What are your memories of that experience?
Oh my God, the food, the people. I met such beautiful, kind people. The conversations, all the different types of music, all the different colors and sights. And when it comes to Corona Capital, like everyone's clothing, I like the fashion.
That's cool. Most people not talk about the fashion in Mexico City. At the beginning of the year, I read a conversation between Lord and David Byrne from the Talking Heads, and they were saying that they're a little bit tired of this moment of the industry when music is about everything but music. It's about stats, it's about social media, it's about a lot of things but music. What do you think about that?
What I think about it is, I want to choose my words carefully. Hold on. My label's here, so not joking. No, what I think about it is, we do live in a world that is driven by capitalism, and that's always going to be invasive upon creative endeavors because people do make money from it. We have to be realistic. But at the end of the day, if you are making something true and authentic and genuine, people are going to connect to it. And for me, music has always been about connection for me and creating connection for myself and creating safety for myself. And as to not feel so lonely, I'm gonna just keep doing that, And I feel like as long as I focus on that, first and foremost, everything else will fall in its place. I don't want to overthink it or get jaded or upset with where the industry is. It could be better, absolutely 100%. And I'll always be a part of that group of people who wants to make things better for each other, especially music in the music industry, because I think we have a long way to go. And we just saw what happened with the film writer strike. And I don't know, I'm just saying, I feel like we need to take care of each other. And we will. I think we always have, and I think we always will. So I wouldn't get too stressed or too worried about it. Just make great art, just make great music.
Yeah, like build a community and make it for the art and just for the art.
Always. Community first, always. Because no matter what, if you're an artist, that's where you're always going to get your first beginnings, where you're going to get your first hands, is in the community.
For my last two, when I listen to your music, I listen rock and roll, whatever that means, whatever that rock and roll means. But I would like to know, what is the meaning of rock and roll right now to you?
The meaning of rock and roll right now to me is attitude. It is usually, to me, rock and roll is the music of disenfranchised peoples. It is the music of anger. It is the music of truth. It is the music of discontentment. And I really like it. I think it's badass when someone's like, no, you won't treat me like this. And you won't talk to me like this, and you will see me, and you will hear me, and I look like this, and I sound like this, and you have to see it. And I think that's very rock and roll. I like that. It doesn't have to be a genre necessarily. It could just be an attitude.
A way to see life.
A way to see life. Don't let anybody beat you down, and think for yourself. Think for yourself.
And for my last one, we always have a great female songwriters, but I think we're in the middle of a golden era of female songwriters and non-binary songwriters. So I would like to know, and actually I think you're a great songwriter. You're so honest and so raw. And I would like to know, in your perspective, what is the main difference between female songwriters and male songwriters?
Listen, I don't know. I'm just going to say maybe it's because of how women have been treated for, I don't know, the past like century and more, how women have been treated in modern history. I think, like I said before, there's an attitude to saying, I'm not going to take this anymore. And I've had something to say for so long. And I also believe that in our bodies as women, we carry the genetic information from other women, our mothers, our grandmothers, our great-grandmothers. There's all this angst built up, and there's all this wanting to speak, you know what I mean? Like wanting to speak for this and for that and for things that don't belong to us as well. And I feel like that's why it's so great, because you're hearing people speak from an honest place. And especially for other women and also just non-binary peoples or however anyone identifies, hearing someone speak their truth is so powerful and is so empowering. And I feel like that's what people want right now. It's not about algorithms. It's about being seen and being heard in a digital age, you know?
Well, Brittany, that's all to me. It's been a pleasure to talk with you, and I hope it won't be the last one. So have a nice day and see you later.
Hey, thanks so much, Ernesto. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Suscríbete a nuestro podcast y escucha las entrevistas más relevantes de WARP en WARP Talks.